So this is a semi-detached house in Chorltonville, which is an arts and crafts estate built at the turn of the last century. As you can see from the house next door, rough cast render throughout, and the nice features are on the front of the house, which we've preserved. The back of the house, we've therefore taken the opportunity to modernise. You've got external wall insulation to modern building regulations, brand new triple glazed aluminium faced windows, so there's almost zero maintenance. And then on the side, we've concealed the soil pipes and all the stuff that quite often spoils a house like this underneath those large panels, keeps the price down, but also modernises the side of the house. That panelling can be removed if there's ever a need for access at a later date, although it's quite unusual, especially because the pipes are now protected. On the roof, you've got the original install that the customer had when we started. That was moved up the roof so we could get another 13 panels underneath it, giving them a total generation capacity of 6.5 kilowatts, which should net them about 5.5 megawatt hours a year, which, with the other measures that we've done in the house and the heat pump you can just see in the corner, mean that the amount of energy they need to run the house for a year is what they generate off the roof, which is our version of net zero. So this is the inverter that changes the voltage of the stuff generated off the roof into stuff that you can use in the house, made by Alpha, who we've partially partnered with, because we're going to then be able to get their inverter to talk to another partner we're developing a relationship with that will enable additional revenues to be generated for householders off the surplus energy in the battery that's underneath this, which is a 10 kilowatt hour battery. So that then means that energy that you generate off the roof when you're not going to use it, you've got available for later. So this is a 6 kilowatt air source heat pump. So it's like your fridge, but in reverse, and it's obviously not at the moment because it's not needed, but it takes heat out of the air and through physics converts that into heat you can use in the house. So this is the other side of the aluminium faced window, so it's wood on this side and then it's triple glazed, quite big cavities, so you barely hear a thing outside, but also very good on the thermal performance. See, it's like shutting a sound controlled room. Do it again. You hear that? And then nothing at all particularly good next to a noisy street, which obviously they're not. So because this is the frontage of the house, we don't want to start messing up the streetscape. So we've done internal wall insulation on the front. We've tried to do it so you can't tell we were here. So this had an original curved brick beneath it. So we've wrapped the insulation around with little formers that we measured up with plywood formers to pull the plasterboard around, and then it's filled with insulation behind. And then this wall here has been insulated too. And then a picture I'll stuck back on so that you really can't tell we were ever here. This is a heat recovery ventilation unit, so this gives you much greater control over your indoor air quality. It takes wet, stale air out of the wet rooms and the kitchen and takes it through here, exchanges the heat out of it for the incoming air, and then the outgoing air goes out through that one and out the chimney. The incoming air comes in the one behind, and then it's circulated around the house in these much thinner ducts. And so this is the primary circulation that then runs across the ceiling and then down into another distribution point over there. So you can see underneath the unit down here, that's the stuff that then goes round the house, down the chimneys and wherever we can find a space for it so you can scarcely tell it was here. So the loft got topped up, but what we also did was use the loft top up to make sure that the ducting it remains insulated as well, so that we're not losing the heat we've just recovered from that unit before we run it around the rest of the house. This is one of the extract points. So there's one of these in the kitchen. I think there might even be two. And there's one in the other bathroom over the other side. This is where all the air is extracted from. This is the air inlet from the heat recovery ventilation system, making use of the old chimneys and hidden in the fireplace. And so there you go. You see, you can't tell it's there. And in fact, the soundproofing on the underside of the hood, just to make sure you really can't hear it. Where we couldn't get the distribution ducting or extract ducting into the chimneys, we've hidden in cupboards. So there's not much to see here. Deliberately, we've done the retrofit from the inside on the front of the house so that we preserve the streetscape of this little arts and crafts joy that is Chorltonville.